Hello everyone, this is again Clark and welcome to my channel Clark Kent. At this juncture, I'm going to talk about one of the best fantasy series that I've read in the year 2021. This is written by one of the grim dark fantasy authors in the world, and that person is Mark Lawrence. You know what these books are. The entire series is called The Book of the Ancestor by, of course, Mark Lawrence. And some people would call this one the Red Sister Trilogy. What I'm going to talk about this book are the following. I'm going to talk about the character, the plot, the magic system, the conflict, and of course, some other features. But before we get the ball rolling, I'm going to invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to please subscribe to my channel, Clark Kent. Just click the subscribe button. And if you want to get some updates regarding my regular booktube videos, just click the notification bell. Now, without any further ado, let's begin. For you to fully enjoy this vlog, allow me to share to you the premise of this book. This book is actually about Nonna Gray, who is our main character. At the convent of Sweet Mercy, young girls are raised to be killers. In some few children, the old blood shows gifting rare talents that can be honed to deadly or mystic effect. But even the mistresses of sword and shadow don't truly understand what they have purchased when Nonna Gray is plucked from the gallows and brought to their halls. It actually takes 10 years to educate the Red Sister in the ways of blade and fist, but there is much more for Nonna to learn than the arts of death. Among her class, she finds a new family and new enemies. Despite the isolation of the convent, Nonna's secret and violent past finds her out, drawing when it tangled politics of crumbling empire. Beneath a dying sun, Nonna Gray must master her inner demons, then loose them on those who stand in their ways. The first reason why I pick up this book eventually is because of the premise. When I read the premise of this book, I was like, oh, this is a unique concept. That is why I didn't have the second thought to pick this up, especially that this is my first Mark Lawrence book. I read this way back February, and the second book that I've read that Mark Lawrence wrote is actually The Prince of Thorn, which is the first book of the entire trilogy as well. But I stopped momentarily in book one because I don't want to miss this out. I don't want to miss the second book and the third book right away. That's why I delayed reading the second and the third book here. What I like about this book is because of its characters. Yes, I'm going to talk about later on why I like the character, especially our main protagonist here, Nonna Gray, who was just an 11-year-old girl when she entered the convent, as far as I can remember. Let's talk about the world building of the Book of the Ancestor. The story is set in the planet called Abeth, orbiting the red dying sun. That is why most of the places in that particular planet is actually sheeted in ice, except for one specific place called the Corridor. It's a 50-mile wide region around the equator, walled by ice. There is an artificial moon that keeps the corridor free of ice by focusing the sun rays into each night. The empire is one of the major rings in the corridor, and it is where the politics and any other issues actually are happening, especially when we talk about the claiming of land, thrones, or whatever politics may tell us all about. The book has a unique concept insofar as the setting is concerned. If you are reading the book, you will certainly feel how the world or the planet Abed actually feels when you're living there. Just like any other books like Mistborn, Stormlight Archive, with unique and in fact impressive world building, this book is giving you in fact that particular chills. If in Mistborn you will feel that there is an ash everywhere, here you will feel really cold because imagine the planet being sheeted in ice and then you're just there in the corridor. That's the only place where there's no ice at all. You will certainly feel that way. And I love that concept of Mark Lawrence. And it makes me ask myself, what if that is happening in the world? What if, for example, the polar ice cap melts? And in fact, The ice sheet, or shall I say, the glaciers, are going to occupy the entire world. And there's only one place there. That is not yet, in fact, being affected by that particular environmental threat. Okay, I could only imagine myself, in that particular place. And in this particular book, there's also what we call the missing. Abeth was originally inhabited by mysterious peoples, now referred to as the missing. They are actually what we call the ancestors, or the people who were living in Abeth many years ago or millennia. Little is known about them, although they seem to have been quiet and advanced civilizations were there during that time. They left behind ruins of cities and the other complex construction, as well as magical artifacts and entities. Demons and Holothor are said to have been their servants. The missing became extinct sometime before the arrival of the four tribes. Ruins can still be found here and there, such as the forest of columns at Sweet Mercy Convent, but most now lie beneath the ice. Some people living near on the ice margins, such as Nonna Slatefather, race exploring tunnels to raid this underground ruin of artifacts. The very simplistic approach in the writing style of Mark Lawrence actually has become essential in the development of the plot of this entire trilogy. Because it is simple, straightforward, we are able to follow the stories very spontaneously. In fact, in the first book, The Red Sister, Nonna Gray here started as a child taken by a child taker, and then the particular abbess in the Sweet Convent Mercy actually got the particular character, Nonna Gray, because she believed that something is special in that child. And in the world where Nonna Gray was living, she was able to meet a lot of friends and also enemies. And not only that, she was able to understand the politics that's happening inside the convent and also in the particular, world or in Abeth as a whole or in general. On top of that particular information I have just mentioned, the scenes and conflicts have become more intense in the second book, The Grey Sister, where Nonna Grey now turned into a 15-year-old Grey Sister. She's able to meet a lot of friends, in that particular book, but along with her journey in the convent, she was also able to meet a lot of, enemies who I hated so much, even in the third book. What I like about the second book, The Grey Sister, is that Abyss Blast was given special POV. Here, I was able to learn the past of Abyss Glass. Who is she in the past before she became an abbess? And at the same time, how willing she is to offer herself for the convent. And at the same time, how wise she is in certain politics in Abeth. Mark Lawrence made little changes in his writing style in book three of the entire trilogy. Unlike in first book and the second book of the entire series, the third book consists of two time frames, or it's divided into two timelines, the past and the present. The present is what is happening in Abeth, and the past was all about a retelling of Nonna Grey and Zol's adventure when they wanted to avoid certain threats because one of the ship parts, wasn't there. I like the shifting of the time because it gave us more depth to the characters of the aforementioned friends, Zol and of course Nonna Grey, how their friendship developed, and how they were like after certain conflicts that were happening or around them in the first and the second book. Meanwhile, insofar as adventure is concerned in the third book, it's so much here because I witnessed a lot of death here, which made my heart sad. Of course, it wept. I don't like the idea that the characters here were killed, especially those that I like. What did you do, Mark Lawrence? Although I would like to mention this one, I found the death of the certain characters I will mention later on quite abrupt. I would like to suggest that Mark Lawrence should have given more depth to the struggles of these characters. It felt like Mark Lawrence was in a hurry to finish the story. And that's why I was like, oh, was that the end of it? But you know what? This one is, in fact, the best of the three, not because of the writing style, but because of, in fact, certain death here. I really was sad because of that one. And now we proceed to one of the interesting features of the book, characters. There are a lot of characters in the entire series, but I'm going to talk about only a few of them because they are my only few favorites. I categorize the characters into three. We have the novices, sisters or nuns, enemies, and later on, I'm going to give one special character that got my heart as well. Under the first category, the novices, I love, of course, the main protagonist. We have Nona Gray. What I like about her is that she's very determined to get what she really likes to have. And at the same time, she's loyal friend. She's willing to die just for you. Other than Nona, I also like Darla, especially in book two, when she offered herself. Yes, you will know how loyal she is to the convent or to the sweet mercy. But on top of the two characters, the one that got my heart the most is Zoe. Zoe used to be a bad girl in the first book of the entire series, but you would truly understand her in the second and third book. I like her because of the way she treated the other novices. She is very fair. There's justice in every decision she makes here. And at the same time, I like the way she fights. I like her will to get what she wants as well, just like Nana. And at the same time, her ancestors. Yes, later in the book three, it was mentioned, how she was in their tribe. Okay. The second category we're gonna talk about is on sisters or nuns. There are a lot of sisters and nuns. We have Sister Pan, we have Sister Talo, we have Sister Pain, and the Iron Rock. But there are only three sisters that got special place in my heart here. The first one is, of course, the Abbess Glass. Uh-huh. She is in fact in charge of the convent. What I like about her is that everything she does is for the welfare of her novices and at the same time fellow sisters or nuns. She's fair in treating everybody else here in this book. Second, I also like Hello, especially her, skills in fighting or wielding swords. I was amazed at how skillful she is when she actually is fighting several enemies, in the battle scene. But of the three, the most favorite of mine is Sister Kettle. Yes, there is something in Sister Kettle which I really like about her. Not because she's so young of all the sisters, but because of her friendship with the main characters that we have. And at the same time, she's the type of sisters, you would want to be close with because of her personality. She's bubbly. And at the same time, she never, takes things seriously here, which added, a light feel in the particular, story that we have in here. I also love her sacrifices in the entire series. Oh no, it looks like she's, equal to Nona in terms of, sacrificing herself and many others. There's another one here in the third category, which I'm going to special mention. Enemy. The most, or shall I say, one of the main nemesis of Nona Gray here is Yish. Yish is in fact an ice tribe member, of course, who is very skillful in different, battles or whether magic. Yes, she trained Zol, but without everybody else's knowledge in the convent where she used to be living there, you know, something was happening around her. Maybe because of the magic that she draw from the specific parts. Yes. And each time, for example, I see Yish in the book, I'm like, oh my God, there she is. I'm afraid of her. Just the same feeling when I read what we call Words of Radiance from the Stormlight Archive series of Brandon Sanderson. Each time I see Zest, Zet, I mean, each time she's there, oh my God, there she is. Yes, she's more than five of the strong characters that we have here. And I doubt those five people, are able to vanquish or conquer her, just like that. Yes, but there is this one special character I'm gonna share or talk about for today, and that's Kiot. Kiot is the demon of one of Nona Gray's enemies. Yes, Lord Taxi's son. When he killed that person, sorry for the spoiler, but that's just little spoiler, of course. Yes, that demon bounded to Nonas. Nona. Yes, she now became, a demon of Nona in book two. But what happened in book two at the end of the entire, book was something I would find really selfless. You would never know how that demon, would be willing to sacrifice himself just for Nona. Imagine she's a demon, and each time, for example, Nona would show mercy to her enemies, she feels weak. I mean, Kiot feels weak. But if Nona doesn't show mercy, that particular demon becomes strong as well. And that certainly is one of the characters I like, in book two. Mhm. Even in book three, there's just a little, what they call it, background about that special character. Now let's talk about the magic system. To be honest, this is one of the features why I did not give this book a full 5-star rating. Why? First off, it is my pet peeve to always give 4.5 stars or 4.7 stars for books whose magic system is actually drawn from blood or from the blood of your ancestor. In this case, the humans of Abeth all descend from the four original tribes of men. The traits of one of these old bloodlines sometimes show in the current population in Abeth. And on very rare occasions, the traits of more than one blood. There hadn't been a three blood in 3 centuries since Aran, the founder, who carved out the empire from the chaos of wild men and petty kingdoms. Now, Nona Grey has been confirmed as three blood and Zol as a full four blood. Yes, these are the two characters which only have multiple bloods based on on what I have read in the entire book here. The magic system here, as I said earlier, was fixed to the idea that this actually power were drawn from the ancestor. That's why there are four classifications here based on how you were born or what blood that actually flow in your veins. We have Gerant, we have Ponska, Marjal, and Pantal. Gerant actually is determined by the size of the character. And yes, why is that so? They are those people who are capable to make themselves bigger than they used to be. And on top of that, they can actually carry large objects. Yes, even the heaviest objects in the particular kingdom, they could carry that one. And one of the characters here who is actually a Gerant blood is Darla. He is a novice in the Sweet Convent Mercy or Sweet Mercy Convent, so to speak. The second blood or power here is what we call Hanska, who is determined by their swiftness or speed. They are those people in a Beth who can actually move very fast. And paired with, of course, their ability to wield swords, scimitar, and any other objects for fighting, this can be, in fact, the best for people with that ability. Mhm. The third one is, in fact, higher than the first and the second blocks. We call this one margals. They are those people who can wield small magic. They can actually make sigils, they can shadow travel, and in fact, they can also wield some magic in different elements such as fire, rock, and many others. But the fourth one is what we call quantal. Quantal, in fact, is distinguished or identified by their ability to wield stronger and bigger magic. They are those students, novices, or characters who are able to what we call path travel or path walk or thread work. They can actually make reality from their cognition. Yes. Of the two, of course, Hanska and Duran, I don't have any issues about that because I can picture them out very easily in my mind when I was reading the entire book. But when it comes to Quantal, I really made myself, imagine, whatever was written in this book because I could hardly do so. Why? I actually found it hard to imagine how it worked. Yes, how people or characters who have this ability to path travel can do that one. Not until I read the third book, where I was able to understand, how this magic works. Those are my overall thoughts regarding the Book of the Ancestor trilogy. And because of that, I'm giving this book a total of 4.7 stars. If you like reading The Nevernight Chronicle by J. Christoph, you will certainly appreciate this book. Thank you for watching my vlog. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. Click it here. Thank you so much for watching.